We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính Đại Đức Tận Thịnh, vì thứ Pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh, thịnh chuyên diệu Pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạt làm, tốc chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Nan Tô, Sư Chế Đô Ye, Ơ La Hơi Đi, San Miao, San Pu Tô Xie. Nam mô Tát Đắc Tha, Tô Già Đà Gia, A La Ha Đế, Tam Miệu, Tam Bồ Đà Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai qian wan jie nan zao yu. 我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Jingliang, Great Master Jingliang, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns, and all good all-knowing advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大士、师父上人、各位出家人、各位上智sư, Mê Tô Phổ. Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thanh Lương Đại sư, Thượng Thiện Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện sư Thích Ca Như Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 15th of December 2024. We are here at Wei Mountain Temple to conduct our Chanchi here. And as usual, on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, we lecture on sutras. Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us. We're on slide 780. This is the final verses, the verses from the princes of the sun. The princes of the suns are the celestial princes who are at the level of the suns. And then next we see the princes of the moon, okay, in the desire realm. So what we have here is learning about the structure of the universe. This is the insight the Buddha gave to his bodhisattvas. All right? And these are world rulers, meaning they rule over the world, meaning that they are very big shots. They are in charge of the princes, celestial princes of the suns, and therefore each world there, they rule over each world. As you can imagine, there are lots and lots of these heavens, a lot more than you realize. And that's why it helps us understand how small we really are, how insignificant we really are in the scheme of things. Okay, we really are not really nothing to brag about. Okay, and what happened is that we are getting exposure to these big shots, and they unlike people in the world, there's no election. Okay, they're not elected. They are designated to be world ruler, to take care of living beings of those worlds. So here, celestial princes of the sun, they are ruling over the heavens at the level of the sun. Okay, you learn more. We learn more about the structure of the cosmos of the universe as we go deeper into the Avatamsaka Sutra. But what you hear, what you're witnessing here, what we're learning here is that these big shots here were chosen to rule over the world. Okay, because they're competent. And what's the difference between that versus our system here in the human realm where we have elections, you think? Look at what the election brings. People who know how to do the political systems instead of people who are competent, who are virtuous. Leaders are supposed to be virtuous, not just competent. Okay? They're doing it not for the sake of personal gains. Contrary to our world, our politicians are stuffing their pockets, investing in stocks with insider information, using cryptocurrencies and so forth as well, starting their own cryptocurrencies and so forth. So the political system as we know it actually designed to be abused. Whereas in the system of the universe, where these celestial princes, these mahasattvas, were chosen by the Buddha to rule over their domain of responsibility. Okay? So in our human realm, we graduate through the election system. We start first with local elections and then go to supervisor, to mayor, to state, and so forth. How do these world rulers get training, you think? They cannot be put in that place unless they receive training. Because they're supposed to there are certain responsibilities they need to fulfill. They don't just sit there on top of people and enjoy themselves and take advantage of the opportunities. How do you think they're trained? I thought no one ever asked. See, I have to ask myself, give myself a hard time. Yes, too.
Emitofuo Master, they are trained by the Buddhas.
How? Of course, they're trained by the Buddhas. How are they trained by Buddhas? You have to understand that everything happens for a reason. They're world rulers because they're put there because they're doing a very important job for the Buddha to take care of living beings in his world, in his Buddha land. Agree? Okay, so how did they receive training? All these multitudes of celestial kings. No one knows? See, this is a secret about the Avatamsaka of the world, of the universe that you guys don't know. People only think it's politics and election. Actually, it's very profound. Yes, 8.
It's just a guess, Master. Could they possibly have to go through a series of tests through their many hundreds of thousands of lifetimes?
Okay,
Prove
lots of
themselves
tests.
of being worthy.
Yes.
And then it's a meritocracy.
Yes, absolutely.
and
This
then
is a meritocracy. If you're not good enough, you're not going to be put there.
So I would assume that then also the higher level, like the Buddhas, maybe Mahasattvas and so forth, are watching and looking for possible people who might be good candidates as time goes on, as they develop.
Yes, absolutely. The interesting point here is that from looking at their worlds, we can see how we can prepare for it. Make sense? If they get there because they have the makeup, they have the track record of doing it already, and then eventually they're chosen to be a world ruler. Make sense? It doesn't happen haphazardly. It's very, very deliberate, if you will. To me, this is so advanced training. Listen, this world ruler here, good eyes. He rules over one galaxy, yes? All the heavens, celestial heavens in one galaxy, which is a lot of heavens. Maybe 100 million heavens. Okay? The scope of his work is incredible. Not like us, we think we're so important, being here in America or so forth. But for them, it's just one galaxy has 1 billion of small worlds, and they rule over that particular level of heavens only. So as you can imagine, if they, and because from my perspective, I don't know, because my guess is that the Buddha, in order to train them, he's not going to allow them to sit in there behind 4 walls and say that, I'm the king now. I'm the king of the world, and therefore you have to come to me. These people actually go out everywhere in their universe so that they get to see and to hear what their subjects' needs are. Does it make sense? You cannot sit in your Babel tower and expect to understand the needs of your subjects. Okay? What do you think? What happens when they go out there in they do a incognito? They travel, of course. They don't want me to say, hey, more important man. Okay, I'm the king. Okay, respect me. Wherever they go, they are not recognized at all. With too many of them, don't understand, don't know. Many of these kings, celestial beings don't understand. So what happened to these, and this is a very important point that I thought of because it applies to our small world as well. Wherever he goes, this good eyes celestial king goes, actually chances are that he's abused. Yeah? No one knows about him. Everyone is too preoccupied with ourselves. Yes? We're trying to make ends meet. We are trying to make our wives happy. Okay? Okay? And so forth. And therefore, the last thing ordinary people care about is want to know about what this guy. Okay? So wherever he goes, he's actually abused quite often. They probably yell at him, beat him up, and so forth. And to me, that is the nature of leadership training. You don't become a leader by being there and expect people to respect you. Become a leader because you're willing to undergo being abused and disrespect it, and you take it. You understand? That's what he has to do himself. That's why when you are this big shot, you go there, you see your subjects, and they abuse you, they yell at you, and they scream at you, and they can't care less about you. Okay? It makes you wonder, why am I doing this? And that's exactly what we've been doing to our people. We selectively let our trainees get abused. If they back off, tough luck. It's not meant for you. Is that clear? This is where you get started. If you're willing to do a small scale here, in the future, when you get to a high level of samadhi, level of wisdom, you get used to it. You know what's expected of you. Nothing is given to us by default. We need to earn it. We need, as a leader, to constantly justify ourselves of our existence. Why are we here? Why are we sitting on top of everyone else? What are we doing for them? Are we sitting here to be served or to serve living beings? And that's the difference between Asian Buddhism and American Buddhism. We are a meritocracy. We have to earn our place every single day. Never asking for anything. That's how you open your wisdom. Not by thinking so highly of yourself, but by learning how to serve others' needs. Is that clear? We've been doing this for a long, long time now. People don't realize I'm very patient. I patiently let my trainees endure a lot of abuses, a lot of hardships. Because if they survive, one day Buddha will pick them to be a world ruler. Because in the future, I'm hoping that all of you will become a world ruler, because that's the path to Buddhahood. All right? All right. Let's go to the text itself. The context is living beings, blind, dark, stupid, and in great suffering. Okay? And the Buddha, in order to help them, he mixed them, opened the eyes of purity. What is the eyes of purity? We talked about this a few weeks ago, but I never had a chance to ask you, what is the eye of purity? In order you meet people who are blind, because they think they're seeing, but they're not really seeing what they're supposed to see. Dark, they think they understand, but they don't really understand. This is what happens to people in the world. And stupid. We're just so stupid. We have no idea how dense we really are, all of us. Okay? And we're suffering. Okay? Cool. We're suffering. We're in great suffering. So much suffering. And because of that, Buddha sees that, he says, he makes us open our eyes of purity. What does it mean, eye of purity? Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. The eye of purity may be the Buddha eye in the...
No, you can't open your Buddha eye. Only Buddhas can open the Buddha eyes. We cannot. Okay? Buddha's eyes are only for Buddhas. Lower level people like us just talk about Buddha eyes, but we have no clues what it really is. Anyone else? What's eyes of purity? It's an antidote to your being blind, being dark, being stupid, and in great suffering. Yes, too.
Master, could be I forgot. Oh, I just forgot. Sorry.
What is it? Alzheimer's? Okay.
Give me a minute.
Anyone else? What's eyes of purity?
I remember.
Okay.
Maybe to have the visions with someone who have a vision with no outflows.
No outflows. Getting clear, getting close. Anyone else? What's eyes of purity? The eyes of purity are the eyes that looks at things and, excuse me, are not attached. They don't give rise to attachments. They see an ounce of gold and say, they're not impressed. They see form and say, whatever you have in the world, you have the eye of purity, you open the eye of purity, you can detach from them. You don't give rise to attachments. You think we teach you Buddhism in order to talk about concepts and things? It's about what are you going to do to free yourself from your suffering. If you think you're blind, you think you're dark, you think you are stupid, what are you supposed to do? Open the eyes of purity. Okay? Yes, 8.
Thank you, Master. We have a couple of comments. One is a question and another is a comment. So Samson Laos asks, are these eyes of purity referring to your wisdom?
Yeah, of course. Eye of wisdom. Yes, wisdom eye.
And
another word for it is wisdom eye.
Wisdom eye. And Diego has a comment. Emitofuo, Master, the eye of purity is an eye that sees everything pure, doesn't discern, doesn't discriminate, and doesn't judge.
The eye of purity does not give rise to attachments, because that's what we do. We attach to everything we look at, don't we? We like to have a car, have nice clothes, everything, wherever we look, we form attachments. Therefore, he lights a wisdom lamp for their sakes, good eyes contemplates this profoundly.
是故为然智慧灯，善目于此生观察。
781 commentary slide. So, in order for us to open our eyes of purity, this Mahasattva here lights the wisdom lamp for us. Okay, so wisdom lamp here refers to using his wisdom. This is an analogy. They use people wisdom. People who are wise, have great wisdom, are supposed to use the wisdom to help us reduce our attachments. How? By helping us see more clearly. The lamp provides light so that we can see more clearly. Your enemies, our enemies, they operate in the dark. The demons and the ghosts, they operate in the dark because by keeping us in the dark, we cannot see clearly. So what happens to these Mahasattva is that he shines his wisdom light on us. So this is very important, folks. You see, you don't ask to be respected. You don't ask for things. You simply use your skills, use your wisdom to help living beings. Instead of asking, how come you're not respectful to me? How come I'm a celestial king and yet you don't respect me at all? You don't have to respect me. I still do my work. This is not how worldly people, this is what they can understand. If you want to have wisdom, this is what you're supposed to do. Okay? And he contemplates this profoundly. So he contemplates, he does his concentration. So what it means is that whenever he sees people who are confused, who are stupid, blind, and dark, he uses his wisdom and shines a light on this person, okay, and see what is it he can do to help this person. You see, there's a difference between that and you demanding this person to respect you, because you only want that because you're weak. You need someone to respect you. These people, these Mahasattvas, they don't need you to respect them. They still do their work, regardless. 782. Liberated, expedient, or honored one of ease and comfort, if sentient beings would see him once and make offerings to him.
解脱方便自在尊，若有成见宜供养。
Okay. The next celestial king, his next Mahasattva, with the Buddha's help, he sees that the Buddha is liberated. Liberated meaning that it's free from restraints. You're not liberated because you have too many attachments. Okay? So how do you become liberated? How do you become liberated? No one knows? You become liberated by building your samadhi power. Every time your samadhi level increases, you have more liberations. You're more liberated. Let me explain this to you. Why do I talk about this? Because in order for you to improve, you want to get liberated, you look at the reverse process. I got up here because I'm liberated, and that means I have to let go of certain attachments. Okay? So that's why we keep on insisting, keep on telling you, don't forget the big picture. You need to improve. Every time you improve, increase your samadhi level, you're more liberated, meaning what? You're happier than before. This is why people in the world have no clues. They think happiness for them is more attachments. Happiness for them is going on a trip to Europe, buying a nice house, more money. That all those are attachments. They do not bring you happiness. The only true happiness is when you're free of them. Meaning what? You have it, it's okay. You don't have it, it's okay as well. Whereas when you're not liberated, you insist on having this. That's Buddhist wisdom. Does it help? Expedient. The Buddha excels at expedience. In order to help living beings, you need to use expedience. That's the only way. What are we talking about? Don't go there. You don't hurry back and say, I'm going to use experience to help a lot of people. No. You will be trained in experience only after you reach a certain level of wisdom. Because your low levels, you don't understand how to use experience and you get in trouble. Is that clear? In Mahayana, we look at the Buddha and the Mahasattvas, we see that they use a lot of experience to help living beings, and that's what we learn. Yes? In the back.
Master, for the English translation of the text, liberated expedient, honored one of ease and comfort. When they translate the word comfort, it seems that it shows an attachment attached to comfort.
Yeah, it's okay. Ease and comfort, it's okay. Because for the Westerners, it's okay. But I prefer self-mastery. Zuzai is self-mastery, where you are your own master. No one can affect you, no matter what happens. Okay? No matter what happens around you, you totally unaffected. Okay? That's what self-mastery really means. It's really not ease and comfort. Ease and comfort is a worldly concept. Self-mastery is the state of wisdom. If you have wisdom, you will not be affected by the externals. Because the externals that you give rise to greed, anger, stupidity. So self-mastery is that you free from greed, anger, and stupidity. Nothing can tempt you. Nothing can affect you. Nothing can influence you. I know you people of the world look at, take for role models like Elon, like Buffett, and so forth, the president and so forth. For us, cultivators in Mahayana, we take for role models the people who have great wisdom. Okay, so we aspire to be like them. Okay. Fan Bien is that you have liberated, and you excel in the use of expedience. Okay. What's expedience? It's not the way you think. I keep on telling you that if you knew what I'm trying to do, I cannot help you. Your ego will fight me tooth and nail. You want this, you want that. You insist on this, you insist on that. That's a sign of weak links. People are so weak, they need to have their way. You don't care. Okay? And so the World Honored One, okay, he really have endless experience, and he has great mastery, self-mastery. Yes, JMT.
들리세요? 들리세요? 네. 네. 제가 좀 전에 뭐라고 대답을 하려고 했냐면, 마스터께서 예전에 법문에서 각 레벨마다, 단계마다 집착이 있고, 그 집착을 내려놨을 때 다음 단계로 진전한다라고 말씀을 하셨어요. 그래서 제가 그거를 대답을 하려고 했고, 이어서 질문이 있습니다. 어떻게 우리가 진전하는 거냐? 그런 거. 좀 지났는데, 네.
Master, I think that you asked a question about how to improve. So I was going to answer that. I remember from the previous Dharma talks, you told me that each level we go up, we need to let go of each attachment. And then, and that's how we move up. And she has a question.
네. 들리세요? 네. 이어서 제가 하려고 했던 질문은 뭐냐면, 제가 다른 분은 모르겠고 저의 케이스인 경우에는 그러니까 마스터 말씀대로 어떤 결과론적으로 진전을 했을 때 편안해지고 자유로워지는 거는 맞아요. 네. 한번 끊을게요. 편안해진다. 네.
So I don't know about other people, but in my case, just like you just mentioned, that when I make a progress, in conclusion, I feel more comfort and ease.
평화롭게도 느끼고요. 네, 평화롭게도 느끼고, 네.
And also feel the peace.
이제 제 질문은 뭐냐면, 그 직전에 그가 좀 이렇게밖에 표현할 수가 없는데 제가 잘 모르니까, 진전하기 이 직전에 저는 엄청난 fear, 공포를 느끼는데, 그게 다른 분도 마찬가지인지, 아니면 진전하기 직전에 에고가 이렇게 코너에 몰려서 압박을 받기 때문에 그런 공포를 느끼는 건지가 제 오늘의 질문이에요.
So I don't know about other people, but right before I make a progress, in my case, I experience great fear. And is that because we cornered my ego into a place?
그래서 제가 생각할 때는 진전하고 나서 레벨이 올라가면 내가 이거를 이 집착을 내려놨구나지만 그 밑에 레벨의 단계에서는 그게 에고의 손실을 의미하는 거이기도 해서 혹시 내가 이걸 공포감을 느끼는 건가라고는 생각을 해봤고 마스터께 질문드립니다. 이것을.
So when I make a progress and go up to another level, maybe its ego felt that there was a loss of something. Maybe that is related to my fear right before I move up another level. So I'd like to ask you to clarify if that's the case. Thank you.
There's no need to be afraid, no need to be fearful. Ignore that thought of fear. That's all. Okay. Master Shiva explained a lot about liberated experience and self-mastery, but whatever it is, if sentient beings but see him once and make offerings to him, so this is why Buddhas and Bodhisattvas appear in the world, because they need to draw near living beings, manifest themselves in front of living beings so that they can make offerings. This is a very important point. The point here is that it starts first with making offerings. The Buddhas and the Mahasattvas and the Bodhisattvas, they come to our world because ultimately, because they want us to somehow bring forth the desire to make offerings. Okay, it's not a trick, it's not a scam. It's just that fundamentally, unless you make offerings and generate blessing for yourself, you cannot make it. You cannot figure it out. Don't think that you can figure it out. You can't. Doesn't matter how smart you are. Okay? You cannot figure it out. However, if you make offerings to a Buddha, then all of a sudden these are good things happen to you. 790. The cause to cultivate unto fruition. This is God virtue's power or expedience.
悉使修行至于果，此事得天方便利。
When you make offerings to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, those seeds of blessings will mature in the future and will enable you to attain fruitions. So in Buddhism, you start first with having blessings, generate more and more blessings for yourself, okay? When you have more blessings, then you can accomplish fruitions. Yes, DTT.
Hello, Master. You explained before that one way to practice Chan is to look at what we are attached to the most and try to drop it, or what we are attached to the second most or third most. And that can vary very differently from person to person. And now you're also saying that one other way to practice Chan is that at every level there's a bag of attachment. That sounds like for everyone this bag of attachment is similar. So are these two different ways to practice Chan?
As you evolve, you just have to spot those attachments and drop them. The same instruction. What happens at low level, You have certain types of attachments, and they keep on. Here, what happened to those attachments? Those attachments manifest themselves as thoughts that occur in your head. You meditate. You sit there and meditate, and you have thoughts of, I have a craving for burgers, French fries. Okay? So those are attachments. And all you have to do is drop them temporarily. That's all. The Chinese and the Koreans tell you to drop them forever. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't have to work like that. So you at first dhyana, you have certain desires, such as attachment to food, attachment to sleep. And those thoughts about food, about sleep, will pop up when you meditate. All you have to do is ignore them. That's all. Don't act upon them. And that's how you break through. Next level, you have all the types of thoughts that will arise. I'm giving you a top secret information. The Chinese don't have it. They don't have it at all. Only in America we have this technology which enables us to get a lot faster than breakthrough, a lot faster than the Chinese. Chinese is too confusing. You want to drop everything. And the point is, you don't need to drop everything. Okay? And I can't stress enough, right here, this Mahasattva is reminding us that Buddhas come to our world in order to somehow make us make offerings to them. Okay? So offering them, it could be in the terms of your temple here, you make offerings of flour, make offerings of food, and so forth, that you're making offerings. See, we have these on the altar, we have food that we offer, to the Buddhas, and so forth. All sorts of offerings. And because you do that, in the future, you will attain fruitions. This is contrary to the modern way of thinking. He says, here I am, I'm special, okay, serve me. No, you have to start first by accruing blessings. Yes, 8.
Thank you, Master. I was just thinking that it's so hard for Western people of Western society to think about giving, because we're not really taught to give. I mean, even
you're
those
taught to take. You're not taught to give.
Yeah, and even going to church and everything, there was not really a big emphasis. It just kind of course, depends on what church you belong to.
I have a problem with the approach where the religious institutions lay a guilt trip on you, and you see, my roof has a big hole there. Would you like to help me fix it? Okay, so it's called entrapment. It's called subterfuges. It's unclean. If you like that, you can't really help living beings because you're scheming for yourself. Our world is very, very tough, folks. We test you constantly. Are you for real? You tell me you want to do this, you want to do that. But it's so many obstructions, so many difficulties. And this is when you need to pass the tests. It's never enough for living beings. You give one, they want more. Okay? And that's how it is. And so I want you to think about this. It's very important for you. What makes you different is that you ask yourself, are you doing this for yourself? Okay? People of the world do it for themselves. Monks, nuns do it for themselves. They justify it as you need to build a temple and therefore they can help more living beings. That's unclean. You have unclean seeds, you have unclean results. You can never feel justified in hoarding for yourself because in the guise of helping more people. You help more people by using subterfuges, by scams, by ruses. You really are not helping yourselves at all, ultimately. I don't expect you to be that way, but I need you to think about it and become and cleanse yourself more and more and more. We have a lot of habit energies we train to plot for ourselves. Okay? Our education is about plotting for ourselves. You come to the temple here, you learn to undo that. That's when you find true liberation, you find true happiness. There's no compromise. Because when you're doing things to help others without any selfish motives, okay, that's when you have the greatest blessings that will enable you to cultivate and attain fruitions. I don't have a lot of time left. I need you to understand these principles. Okay? Because if the seed is impure, the result is not impure. It's also impure. There's no excuses. This is the God virtues, power, expedience. And that's what this Mahasattva called God virtues, power, expedience. Okay, that is, this particular celestial prince here is extremely competent at using expedience to help people cultivate. 792. Measureless doors within a single Dharma door, through measureless thousands of aeons, are extolled.
一法门中无量门，无量千劫如是说。
So, in Buddhism, in Mahayana, we have something called Dharma door, meaning that it's a method of practice. And for example, one method of practice is practice giving. Okay? And that's one single Dharma door called giving. And within that giving Dharma door, there are measureless variations. You can give money, you can give your time, you can give your body, you can give your whatever you can think of. That's why they all are part of this thing called giving Dharma door. Okay? And through measureless thousands of aeons are extolled, we need to the bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, and Buddhas have to appear in the world and teach you how to, they spend a lot of time teaching us about these Dharma doors. The Dharma doors, so proclaimed, prolific in meaning, are understood by the God universal evolving radiance.
所言法门广大义，普运光天之所了。
Okay. I really don't care to explain too much and correct too much in English, but you can imagine it has issues, but it's okay. So what this Mahasattva does, what the Buddhas do, is they explain, okay, the Dharma doors as vast and has great meanings. Okay? And so, what does it tell you? It tells you that you need to speak Dharma. You really want to save living beings? You have to learn the Dharma and then prepare to speak the Dharma. Okay, what Dharma are we talking about? These Mahasattvas and Buddhas, they explain the Dharma doors as vast, meaning that they spend so much time learning all sorts of Dharma doors. They don't simply say, I only learn to study Dharma doors to help Koreans only, to help Vietnam people only, to help white people only. Okay? There's no discrimination. They learn all sorts of Dharma doors. Okay? Guang is that. It is so vast. Okay? You spread it out endlessly. Da-yi is with great meaning. These Dharma doors are very, very profound. A lot more profound than we can appreciate. Okay? So that's why you want to keep on studying and learning about these Dharma doors over and over and over again, because eventually you will learn, you understand more and more and more. Yes, A.
Thank you, Master. You have a question here from Gold Forest Apple. Thank you, Master. I have a question here about offering properly. I'm used to bringing some food to the temple, sometimes cooked, sometimes bought, and I just want to know what is the best thing to do here. I know that it is best to offer them to the altar first. Is there any difference between cooked food and raw food? And when I offer, should I ask the Buddha to accept it? It sounds like she's asking for some basic guidance here. Thank you, Master.
Okay. You can offer all sorts of food, cooked or raw or uncooked. And what you do is usually, if you bring like groceries, give it to the kitchen manager. Okay, because it's too much. But if you, for example, you offer fruits and stuff, then you can offer them to the Buddha altar, put them on the altar. Okay, and when you do that, you bow 3 times. When you make an offering, you always bow. You know why? Because you thank the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for accepting your offering. They don't need your offering, trust me. So that's why the proper protocol is that You make an offering on the altar and you bow. Whether it's incense, whether it's fruits, whatever, food. That's what the general thing is. And then if once you do that, you can eat. You can take it out. Because the protocol is we want to make offerings of your food to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We are not that important. But once it's offered, now we can enjoy ourselves. It's KU2.
네, 저번 주 마스터 불칠 때 무명은 애욕, 음욕심의 근간을 두고 있다는 법문을 들었습니다. 애욕, 음욕의 씨앗이 완전히 파괴되는 경계는 어떤 레벨에서부터인지 여쭙고 싶습니다. 흔히 불태전으로 지칭하는 팔찌보살부터인지요.
Master, I think you mentioned about ignorance. It's based on desire and also deviant desires. I remember listening to this Dharma talk. And you said, so this loving desire and then also deviant desire, where the seeds are destroyed, in which level? Is that no regressing level, the 8th crown bodhisattva's level, is it?
Not really. These seeds are there in our consciousnesses, and they can mature eventually. So there's no need to worry about destroying them. You need to worry about how to neutralize them. Okay? All right, understood by the God, universal revolving radiance. So what he does is he transports these lights. He brings these lights, the sunlights, to living beings. Okay, that's what he does for a living. Okay, 796, we're into the heavens of the desire realm, the celestial princes of the moon. 797, moreover, celestial prince moon gain a passage into liberation of universally radiating pristine light throughout the Dharma realm, gathering in and transforming sentient beings.
复次，月天子得净光普照法界，摄化众生解脱门。
So this is the moon, the celestial prince of the moon. And he got there by practicing this Dharma door, by radiating pristine light throughout the Dharma realm. And this light here has a way of gathering in and transforming living beings. Okay, so you see, what he does is he works up this light here, light of wisdom, that he can radiate throughout the entire Dharma realm. That's how powerful he is. Okay, and wherever the light goes, and whichever living being encounters the light, they will be gathered in, and they'll be transformed from deviant to proper, and they will believe in goodness. All right? Celestial Prince king of flowers cow gain a passage into liberation of observing the realms of all sentient beings, causing them to universally enter boundless dharmas.
华王即光明天子，得观察一切众生界，令普入无边法解脱门。
Okay, 800. King of flowers cow. So his bump in his head is like has a shape of it's adorned with flowers, very adorned. And he became a Mahasattva. He got there. He became a celestial king of the moon by observing the realms of sense, all sentient beings. Okay, so he sits there and contemplates all the sentient beings. Okay, no sentient being is omitted. He looks at all of sentient beings. And what he does when he looks at them and is to universally enter Puru, enter boundless dharmas. So he makes living beings be able to enter and practice the boundless Dharma doors of Buddhism. Okay, so you see, at this level, they need to figure out ways to get us to cultivate. It's not talk. Ultimately, the highest form of the highest goal we have is for you to cultivate. Celestial Prince, all manner of pure and wonderful radiance, gain a passage into liberation of understanding the ocean of sentient beings' minds and the various ways in which they are influenced by opportunism.
众妙净光天子，得了知一切众生心海，种种攀缘转解脱门。
Okay, 802. It prints all manner of pure and wonderful radiance. So remember, this is a celestial prince of the moon, so they use light to do their work. Okay, and what he does, he got there, and he's got there because he mastered the way to understand the sentient beings' minds. He gets to understand all of our minds. Okay, meaning he has to go everywhere. He needs to go to, remember I said earlier about the celestial king, they need to go everywhere, okay, throughout their realm, their territory, in order to understand living beings and their needs. But here in particular, he wants to see how living beings' minds operate. Part of wisdom is that you're able to see how people's minds function. And don't say it, because they get very scared. Okay? And he says, he realizes that these living beings, when he sees the minds of living beings, he sees one thing that's that stands out. They climb on conditions. Whenever there's an opportunity, they make sure to seize it. That's climbing on conditions. Yes? Go ahead in the back.
Hello, Master. Is that one of the spiritual power called knowledge of others' mind? Passing tong?
No. Then the spiritual penetration of knowledge of others' mind is very shallow. He basically says, whatever you're thinking, they can see it, they can sense it. Okay, so it's sort of your brain waves are being read by this using this spiritual penetration. Here is different. Here it says it's not just people's minds, but he understands how our minds functions. What makes us tick? In particular, what makes people's mind tick very often, the majority of people, they climb on conditions. So he sees a lot more profound, this kind of wisdom, where he sees how the inner workings of our minds and how we invariably climb on conditions. It's our attachments. 803. Celestial Prince, instilling peace and joy in the hearts of the world, gaining passion to liberation and bestowing inconceivable bliss upon all sentient beings, so that they jump for joy.
安乐世间新天子，得与一切众生不可思议乐，令永耀大欢喜解脱门。
Okay, now you see another aspect of the work that's involved here. Each Mahasattva have their own sort of specialty. This one here, instilling peace and joy in the hearts of the world. He says, for my wisdom, for my spiritual powers, for my blessings, I want to bring peace and joy. Peace and bliss to give to all living beings. Okay? And not just peace and joy, but inconceivable bliss that living beings will experience because of him. And that's to the point where they jump for joy. Sounds so shallow, doesn't it? That he's doing joy and jumping for joy and peace and bliss. Why is that? Why? Because people, living beings, are overwhelmed by suffering. When they suffer too much, they can't function anymore. So for him to be able to give peace and bliss in our minds, in our hearts, it gives us reprieve, give us relief, so that we can function again. It's so fundamental. Okay, like for example, right now, the world is so bad that economy is so bad everywhere. Okay, everyone is frightened. No one is spending anything. No one is buying anything. Okay, so this is when you can call the celestial prince instilling peace and joy in the hearts and say, please help us a little. All right? Isn't it interesting that you think of cultivation like, I want to become enlightened and so forth. But you see how important these fundamentals are. Unless you find peace and joy in your heart, you can't function. Don't forget that. Okay? 805. Celestial Prince, bright eyes of the King of Trees, gain a passage into liberation of, at all times protecting the work of farmers, such as the growth of seeds, sprouts, stems, and so forth, causing them to thrive.
树王眼光明天子，得如田家作业，种芽金等，随时守护，令成就解脱门。
This brings to mind how in Japan, I saw some clips. It says in Japan, the farmers there, they pray to the gods and the spirits in order to have a good harvest. So before they plant the seeds, they would pray to the gods. And then after, during harvest, they pray to the gods again to have a good harvest and so forth. Okay, and if the Japanese would just pray to Celestial Prince, bright eyes of the King of Trees, they would be so much better off. This is our desire realm. If you pray to him, he'll come and help you. Again, fundamentals. If we do farming, we need food to eat. So therefore, to farm, we need good seeds, sprouts, stems, and so forth, and get them to grow and thrive. Okay? So the help is very practical. And notice, no one knows. No one knows that he's behind all the good harvests and the good crops and so forth. It's the Japanese gods that get all the credit for the good harvest. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Japanese gods and spirits, when they receive the offering from a Japanese farmers, they then in turn pray to the celestial king. Okay. Bright eyes, the King of Trees. Bright eyes is that he can see very clearly what your problem is and how to fix your problems. Okay, and 808. He goes through a lot of things here, bright eye and so forth. When you cultivate, it's like farming as well. Okay, so you want to make sure that you weed and you put the proper fertilizers and so forth. And there's no point, not necessary to go into the details here. But basically, you be guided to do these things yourself. 811. Celestial Prince, manifesting pure light, gain a passage into the liberation of, saving and protecting all sentient beings with kindness and compassion, enabling them to witness experiences of suffering and joy.
出现净光天子，得慈悲救护一切众生，令现见受苦受乐是解脱门。
This prince here, manifesting pure light, his light is very pure. Okay, he shines upon us, and when the light shines on us, he is giving us kindness and compassion. Kindness because we are suffering so much that we need a little bit of joy in our lives. Don't forget that. Okay. This is why in our temple, when we cultivate, you eat, we want you to enjoy yourself. Don't have to say that, we are pure cultivator. We're not supposed to be attached to food. Jeez. Okay. And that's how you practice kindness and compassion. It's not necessary for you to break through, because the way that the Chinese do it is that they do brute force. They have no advisor. That's why they do brute force. For us, we do certain teaching, and therefore we don't necessarily adhere to that strict of a policy, because it's not that helpful in my experience. Okay, but the concept here is that if you have wisdom, you have to practice kindness and compassion. In other words, if you want to make further progress, which I didn't see in my master's temples, because they don't practice kindness and compassion. Okay, and that's a big flaw in the practice. And how do you practice? How does he practice kindness and compassion? By enabling living beings to witness experiences of suffering and joy. How does it increase our kindness and compassion? By helping people, by manifesting suffering and joy. Anyone? He manifests, the events of joy and suffering. Joy will open your heart. Yes, Abe?
I was just thinking, Master, when we see people who are suffering, we just naturally feel for them, and maybe we're able to increase our compassion towards them. And the kindness of wanting to do something to alleviate their suffering.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Here's what happens to us. When we see people suffering, we naturally feel pity for them. We naturally feel for them. And that's how you develop compassion. Okay? You need to be able to see people suffering, and they can't take it. How about joy? Joy is when you see people happy, then you like to do it again. It's very, very contagious. See, I didn't realize you like it that much. I'll give you some more again in the future. All right. 8:13. Celestial Prince, universally roaming yet unmoving light, gain a passage to liberation of, universally appearing in 10 directions, holding the pure moon.
普游不动光天子，得能持清净月，普现十方解脱门。
His light goes everywhere, but it's unmoving. Okay, meaning he doesn't get excited about anything. He just shines the light upon. Okay, and that's how you help people. You help people by being clear-headed. Okay? And he helps people by appearing in the 10 directions, holding the pure moon. So what these people do is what he does is that he enters samadhi. In his samadhi, he actually are moving, are going everywhere in the Dharma realm. Okay, in the 10 directions. And he manifests the moons, like he's holding the moon for everyone to see. Okay, and that's what he does. That's 8.
Thank you, Master. We have a comment and a question. Dintai says, we can't be joyful without experiencing the ups and downs of life. And there's a question here from someone, Raz Van 1040. It's a quote from something that you had just read. It says, quote, understanding the ocean of sentient beings' minds and the various ways in which they are influenced by opportunism, end of quote. And the question is, so how exactly does somebody's mind function?
He sees how they function. I'm not him, so I don't know. He just sees how people are very opportunistic. They climb on conditions constantly. Because of that, that's how they operate. That's why he uses that knowledge to come and help them. Okay? For example, now they're greedy for money. They say, okay, I will show you how to invest in the stock market. Okay, I give you a tip. Okay, and so he accords with living beings' wishes and desires. Okay, because living beings, once they see an opportunity, they would want to seize it and take advantage of it. And so he gets closer to them. They can trust him more. Okay. And so here he creates a moon that appears everywhere. Okay, I have no idea why he wants to have a moon that appears everywhere. To me, it sounds like so shallow. Well, anyway, he's a Mahasattva. What do I know? 8:16. Celestial Prince, Sovereign Constellation King, gain a passage into liberation of, revealing all dharmas to be illusory, resembling space, lacking characteristics, and an inherent nature.
心宿王自在天子，得开示一切法，如幻如虚空，无相无自在，无自性解脱门。
Okay. It's more like a Buddhist approach. I don't know why you want to appear, make moons appear everywhere. I don't get it. Anyway, 1.
Thank you, Master. Wu Xiang, should it be translated into no mark instead of lacking characteristics?
Yeah, the jargon is no marks, but characteristic is okay too, because it's more commonly known as characteristics. Our jargon is mark. Okay, so either way is okay. I have no problems with it. Most people who don't know Mahayana, they would understand characteristics, but when we say no mark, that's when they ask questions. So I can live with that. All right? Sovereign Constellation King. Okay. What does he do? He reveals everything to be illusory. Okay, so this moonlight that he emits on things help us let go, realize it's really illusory. Okay, somehow with his light, this light shining on things around us, we become more detached. Okay, it's kind of cool, very powerful. You don't need a reason to shine the light on you. I'm not attached. I don't care anymore. Okay? Resembling space, okay? It's there, but it's not there. Lacking characteristics. All these marks, these characteristics actually are illusory, okay? And inherent nature are actually empty. All these dharmas, everything is basically an illusion. Resembling space, lacking marks, lacking characteristics, and have no nature. And that's wisdom. If you have wisdom, that's what you will see. Illusory because you can let go. It's not a big deal. Okay? Resembling space because it's really empty. Lacking characteristics, whatever you're so attached to in terms of characteristics, they are not real. It's an illusion. And inherent nature is that it really has no nature of its own. It's all arose from causes and conditions, and therefore, without these causes and conditions, they don't exist. That's what's meant by lacking an inherent nature. They depend on something else for their existence. Okay, this is where we stop tonight. Thank you, everyone.